Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Elbow Tight Podcast. These are your hosts, Travis and John. John, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good. We got our great friend, fellow training partner, CrossFit athlete.
Champion of the last in-house throwdown.
Champion of the last in-house throwdown. The man, the myth, the legend. That's Derek Dodd. How you doing, Derek?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Not bad, man. Can't complain. If I didn't know, listen. Hey, so today's beverage of choice we have is brought to you by Derek Dodd. What we got today, Derek?
It's Stone Delicious IPA. What is it? 7.7 alcoholic beverage or volume. So I chose it. I've been down to San Diego. That's where I lived for about 6 years. And northern San Diego, they have the Stone Brewery. And, man, if you ever go down there, that place is great to check out. It's a garden. So while you're getting your beer and your food, you walk around the garden.
So it's like a literal beer garden.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, it sounds good when you read a citrusy IPA with lemon drop and El Dorado hops. I mean, that sounds delicious.
That sounds actually really good. And then you try it, and it does live up. This is actually really good. I've never had the Delicious IPA. I've had the Stone Brewery Arrogant Bastard IPA, which was fantastic also. But this is the first time I've ever had this, and I might replace. Is this seasonal?
Nope. The only place I can find it is at the gas station on the Native Tribe. So I don't know if it's anywhere else. That's just where I get my beer.
So far, we're not batting good on getting a bad beer.
Yeah,
I know you wanted
right,
one on the
right.
last podcast.
But you know what? We did get a shout out to not have a local brewery from Washington State. So this one is from San Diego. So, hey, but like I said before, we got our friend Derek Dodd. He is a white belt along with us from Pacific Northwest Jiu-Jitsu. He just did, like we said, win the in-house throwdown. So we wanted to get him in here and pick his mind a little bit on what's going on in his head when he's in competition, what he did to prepare for it, and kind of just get to know him. He's a really good friend. A lot of us don't know too much about each other, even though we've known each other for years. So sitting down and having a conversation while recording it is always a good way to figure it out. So, Derek, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself. You can keep it real brief. Well, don't keep it real brief because people want to know. They want to know who you are.
Well, I'll start. So I'm a military brat. My dad was in the Navy also. Now I am. Just gave it away. So he did 20 years. We moved all around. We lived in Italy, San Diego. We lived up here in Bremerton. He got out around 2008, and that's kind of when I joined. Actually, it was probably 2006. But
well, I feel old.
Yeah. So I joined in 2008. Became an EOD tech, went to school, took about 2 years, and I got orders to San Diego. There I started my combatives training, and in that they had a guy named Brandon down there that taught jiu-jitsu, but more of a, you got kit, body armor, a gun, and all that stuff, but, you just got taken down for some reason. Yeah, right. So,
realistic.
Yeah. Sometimes, you get into that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we just had to be ready. So that's kind of what I came up to when I moved up to Washington in 2015. So I did San Diego for 6 years, then moved up to Washington for sea duty. When I moved up here and Cody started the gym, I brought a lot of that combatives training to jiu-jitsu.
Right, yeah. Yeah, we could definitely tell when we first started rolling. I was like, does Derek have a background in this? And then come to find out your sister's a blue belt. You did it with the team and stuff like that. So it's kind of you've been around it for a little bit because you could definitely tell. So
yeah, bringing my sister, she's down in Portland right now doing sub-regionals.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she's got a match today, probably any minute now.
Is it live streamed anywhere?
No, I wish it was.
Oh,
Not that I know of. She
it.
doesn't know, so.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So what'd your dad do in the Navy?
He was IT. What did he do before that? They switched him over to something from IT. I can't remember right now, but yeah, so he was an IT in the Navy.
Oh, nice. 20 years, huh?
20 years.
You
man.
plan on doing 20 years? I hear you go back and forth, right?
Oh, no.
No, you're done?
No, man. I'm done.
Come on,
Wait,
Chief.
well, how many do you have now?
11.
Then you
Hold
have
on.
to finish.
No. Because, man, they're going to move me to Guam. I'm ready to stay with the family, man.
Ugh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, so I'm ready to stay with family. I get out in January, so if you're looking to hire.
January. Right around the corner, man.
Right around the corner.
What's the plan?
So I do rental properties.
Oh yeah.
I love
you just
that.
bought one down south, right?
I bought 2 and with 6 units altogether. So I've been down there fixing them up pretty much every weekend. So that's my biggest hobby or second job, whatever you want to call it right now.
Right.
So I'm all about that right now.
Yeah.
But I might go into one of the trades. I'm probably going to start a remodeling business. I got some people that have a bigger background than me, but don't want to do the business side of it. So
right.
I'm like, yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Yeah, especially because you have the experience with the rental properties, and then you can kind of experiment, I guess you could say, on your own properties, right? And see what it's like doing that. That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, and these properties I get, man, they're
dirt cheap.
Dirt cheap, but there's a reason.
Yeah. I hear rental property is actually a hard thing to be in, like not only financially, but like being a landlord and like
finding a good renter.
Finding
a good
yeah. Didn't you have a rental property, right?
Yeah.
Do we not want to talk about that?
We'll just leave that one alone.
Let's not bring that up.
Yeah, there's those stories everywhere, but you got to find the right property manager.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was about to say, you wouldn't manage it yourself, right? You would probably have someone.
Right now I do.
Yeah.
But I'm just strict with my tenants. Like, you have to, if you give it, it's just like, I hate to say it, but if it's like a kid, right? You give a kid a little leeway, they're gonna take it every time.
Yeah.
You give a renter a little leeway, you gotta hold them accountable.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's kind of like the military, right?
Yep.
Like you can't you give them an inch, they take a mile, right? Kind of saying.
Yep.
Right, like kind of like in jiu-jitsu, you let that arm go just a little bit, and then bam, you get in the arm barred. Like, dang it!
You don't keep your elbows tight, just that is.
I like that plug. That's cool. So how long have you been doing jiu-jitsu then?
So it's been off and on, consistently now for about a year.
Yeah.
So as mentioned, I did the combatives, so that was all through San Diego, so about 6 years there.
Wow.
But it was on and off. It wasn't full time, and only a couple days a week. Maybe.
Do you guys go to like training courses for the team and learn the combatives, or is it like
so it's
like
in-house?
It's all in house.
But we hired a guy. So we hired a guy that I don't even think he.
So when you say combatives, it's not like Gracie combatives. It's a different kind of course or something that he goes.
So it's more like we'll have like a one of those fake guns and
boots and utes. And
stuff. we'll get taken down, and it's like, all right, how do you keep them from grabbing? You're kind of like cops would do.
Kind of like the sheriff's office.
Yeah. So stuff like that, and then it's mean, like dragging forearms and elbows across the face. And
gotta make it realistic.
Yeah.
No, I know where you get it from.
Excellent. Right. You and Riley, man. I'm like by the end of it, I'm just tapping just because my neck hurts. So no.
I tried to lay back. I know I did that a lot when I was. That's the only thing I knew.
Yeah. Right. No, that's it. We talk about it. Well, pretty much anyone that does jiu-jitsu talks about it. How there's some people that have some sort of combative background or grappling background, and then if it's not jiu-jitsu, they go to what they know. If it's a wrestler, it's 110%, right? Like that's what they know. If it's combative, it's going like you're in a situation.
Fight,
yeah, exactly, right? So it's completely understandable. I still go a little hard, apparently sometimes, and so it's just one of those things. It's especially as a white belt, right?
Yeah.
It's to be expected, like we're gonna go a little bit harder because we don't know.
We gotta make up for it.
Right. Lack of skill. I gotta.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly. Right.
You don't know that if you slow down, you just miss that elbow because you're going 110%, or you miss that arm that move that you just learned that day. It's like,
right.
It was right there.
And then you're only doing what you know, right? So if you roll against like a professor or one of the coaches, they're like, well, I already know what he knows, so I'm just going to go ahead. And so
absolutely.
You have to try to put it on harder and faster, and it just doesn't work out.
So I mean, I did that, and then so take it back a little bit further. We talk about wrestling. I did wrestling when I was younger.
Okay.
But I quit in 8th grade because I broke my arm. I turned the wrong way. Freak accident. I don't know what happened. I just broke my arm, and from there, it just kind of, gave me a bad taste. And then and we moved so much, it was hard to get into high school, middle school. It's hard to get in a niche with those guys. But my dad was a great wrestler, and
really?
he still coaches wrestling.
Oh, really?
Oh, that's cool.
So my sister did it too. And then I actually owned a gym down in our hometown for a little while. Me and my dad did, and then everyone, we lost the coaches after a while, so. It was jiu-jitsu, so I'd pop in there, do some jiu-jitsu from time to time when I was visiting from San Diego. So, But man, I did it on the ships and stuff like that because I was on a ship once. We're not hardly ever on ships, but I was on a ship once and I was kind of bored, so we did some jiu-jitsu, and I kind of got away from it because guys would get me in arm bars. I hate arm bars, by the way. If anyone's doing them to
Especially when you have an experience with a broken arm, right? You kind of get that flashback, like
that. Yeah, and then I got hyperextended multiple times.
Oh.
So that was my main thing with when we started the gym. I wasn't there for the first month or two because I was like, man, I know what happens. Like,
right,
you get
been
an
there,
arm
done
bar.
that.
Yeah,
don't really want to experience it again.
But I mean, Cody kept on pushing me or like giving me that hey, and I was interested. I'm always interested. So
yeah, who's not? Well, I mean, I can't say who's not interested in defending themselves because there's plenty of people out there that aren't interested in defending themselves, right? But like, if you have that little bit of background, you always have that like, well, I did it before. Let me see how I can do at this kind of thing, you know.
I'd be peeking in around the corner like, what are they doing today? I want to join.
he's like looking sad out a window as it raining outside. Like,
do you remember the black belt that kicked it off at the seminar? He said
Alan.
after we did this for like 3 or 4 months that we'd be good enough for the streets.
Yeah.
So I think after a year, like, we're definitely good enough for the streets at this point.
Streets.
That guy was right on, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Haven't had to test that yet.
Yeah, me neither. I always like now that I can intelligently defend myself better, I feel like I'm more cautious and more aware of my surroundings now, right? Because I'm like, I don't want to use it, but if I have to, hopefully I can do it intelligently, right? But I see a group of people that don't look good, I'm like, I'm walking the other way, you know, like.
I think that's the military background,
yeah,
too, man. My eyes are always shifting around, looking at different people.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to get caught from behind or something like that. Someone yelling "World Star" and then you get punched in the mouth, you know. So
yeah. If I'm even out after dark, something's wrong.
Ain't that the truth? I know Lord was like, you want to go out there? And I'm like, it is 8:00 at night, girl. You know what kind of people come out right now?
Yeah. Bad things happen after 8.
Yeah, right. The freaks come out at night, girl. I ain't trying to go out. So you mentioned your hobbies earlier. I was eating Lordell's, one of Lordell's roommates, or not roommates, oh my God, co-workers is a hunter, and he gave us some elk. So I smoked some elk and cooked some elk yesterday, and I'm like, I don't know why I don't hunt. You hunt, right?
Oh yeah. I got into hunting. Oh man, 5 years ago.
Oh, so you're relatively new at it too, then?
Relatively, yeah. I haven't been able to go like the last year, 2 years, because I had a brand new baby girl, so she's 2 years old. So it's been a rough 2 years. So.
You have a 2-year-old girl, you said? Sorry.
Yeah. 2 and 4 is what I got. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday.
Oh man. Yeah, when I brought Khalees into the gym, 6 months old.
Yeah. And I was like, he's gonna be the next athlete, big athlete. And you're like, well, it's a girl. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else do you do as hobbies then, besides hunting and like working out and making millions of dollars in rental properties?
Yeah, real estate, mogul. Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Not much, man. I love archery. I mean, that falls into hunting, but
is that what you do? Do you archery?
I try to. I won't say I won't say I do archery. I go out into the forest with a bow.
A long bow or compound?
Yeah, long bow
compound.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, I haven't actually got anything with a bow yet, but
no black powder.
No. So man, there's so much up here in Washington.
Really?
Like, yeah. I mean, well, just when you get into hunting, you get into fishing, and then like you got to choose salmon. You know, you go steelhead. You want to go to the rivers, the street. You know, the ocean. It's like. So and then there's duck. I mean, there's so much that you can get into.
Yeah, you can turkeys up here too. I know there's a couple people that we know go turkey hunting.
East side, East side's really good for turkey. But so I try and choose one thing every year to get into. So
hunting wise or
hunting,
just like
fishing. yeah. So hunting, fishing, so that I'm not. Man, because that stuff costs money.
It does. Like they're telling me you have to buy a license, right? And then some of them are lotteries, right? So you pay for the license, and then you're not even guaranteed to get it. You get put in a lottery to go hunt that or whatever it is.
You can put in for certain areas. So like imagine Washington's like a whole bunch of states, right, or whatever boundaries. So you put in for the nice the nice hunts where no one else can go. Like some of them can only have 3 people hunting in them, pretty much. So
really,
yeah. So you put in for those really nice ones where you're not,
and that's what the
not
lottery
guaranteed.
is.
Yeah, you're not guaranteed, but it's a pretty good chance.
Yeah.
I think you're talking about Nevada when I was there and I was telling you about
Yeah, oh,
that.
was that-
You
was that-
pay for a hunting license and you pay for everything, and there was no guarantee you'd even get to go hunting. The lottery was even
wow.
if you get to go.
That's
You still had to pay.
That's insane.
I'd be furious.
Yeah.
Like I just spent $120 on this, and you're telling me I'm not gonna go
Yeah,
hunting?
pretty much.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, so but did you do anything going to the in-house throwdown? What you do to lead up to it? Because you did really good. I think you got everyone with the triangle pretty much.
Yeah.
Looked like that was your move of choice.
Yeah, that was. It wasn't really a choice. It was. I mean, you guys talked about it before. It's. It's just what you go into.
Yeah.
So, I didn't do much to prepare because I didn't know what to expect. I was thinking that it was going to be a little bit slower of a game.
Boy, were you wrong.
No, I was definitely wrong.
Well, you were at the runs we were doing at class. I was like, no way.
I was watching that and I was like, I'm good. I'm glad I didn't do this. Like y'all are trying to take each other's heads off right now.
Yeah, no. So I mean, so you come out and it's I thought it was gonna be like, all right, we're both gonna go at each other, but like it's gonna slow down. Man, it never slowed down.
Yeah.
So stand up. It was just crazy. Like you get someone and they are doing everything that they can to not go down because they don't want you to get points on them.
Yeah,
and I'm just
totally
like,
different mindset.
Yeah. So I'm just, and I don't want points on me, so I'm trying to drag them down. But I'm also like, man, okay, so if he gets me down, what am I doing next? Trying to think ahead a little bit. But so it went to the ground pretty much every time, and man, I'm comfortable on my back.
Me too.
And I love triangles. I don't think we've rolled too much lately, but
you've gotten me in a couple triangles before.
Yeah,
and you got long extremities, right? Like you're a lot of arms and legs. So it's we mentioned it, like anyone with long arms and legs should probably be doing jiu-jitsu. Like you're gonna be good at it. So
yeah,
it's gonna favor your body type.
So when you were doing the competition, did you think at some point maybe it's better to just give up points and try to get a submission?
No, so my plan going in was to rack up all the points that I could, and I think this is the right strategy. I don't know, but so you go, you pass the guard, side control, knee on belly, mount, and take the back if you can. That's probably the most efficient way to get all the points that you can. So that's what I was trying to do, and then after that, I was trying to go for a submission because at that point, you should be about 9-10 points, somewhere around there, and that's pretty safe.
Yeah.
I felt that would be pretty safe for my game. So.
Yeah. The only thing that I didn't really like about the competition rules was just the speed, man. Because like we all talk about it. You kind of want to slow down a little bit and just like figure things out, and then when the other person is not slowing down, you're like, okay, well, I guess I got to meet them in the middle and try to meet force with forces. I believe not force. What word am I looking for? Endurance, not endurance.
Intensity.
Intensity. Oh my God. Meeting intensity with intensity, right? Like you're like, well, if they're going 100%, then I might have to go 100% to make sure that I'm safe. You know what I mean? So.
Well, like I told you, I might be crazy, but whenever I'm rolling, I have like a power meter in my head, like an old school video game. And every time I try something that doesn't work, I'm like, well, there went half my energy meter.
You're like, I wasted all that.
And the longer I sit on my back, I watch it build back up, and then I can try again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what do you thinking during it? What were you thinking during it? Especially because you, I think for the absolute, your first match was against Thor. Thor's 260. 6'3", massive Viking of a man, and then here goes Derek Dodd, 6 foot, 170 pounds.
Oh, 170? I don't know. I'd put him at like 185.
Oh no, I wish I was 180, dude. No, I try. 176.
176, right? So there's 90 pounds of difference in these two, and I was like, man. And Thor's pressure is getting a whole lot better.
Oh yeah,
you know
he's coming a long way. I know there's a little stint there where he wasn't coming in as often, but he got right back on it, and he's been getting on it. But yeah, I mean when we decided to do absolute, because it was just a thing afterwards. It was 4 of us that were like, yeah, let's go a few more rounds, and so pin me versus Thor, and it's like, well, obviously I'm probably not going to be on top. Well,
Yeah,
it's probably not where the match is going to go.
Right. So just play off your back end.
Play off my back. Yep. Play and like I said, the moves that obviously the triangle I love. So and it's fluid to me. So that's just kind of what came out in the tournament, and that's probably what I'm going to do the tournament in July, Revolution.
Oh, nice. What are you doing to prepare for that? Are you doing anything specific? Are you strength training now?
No, I've been talking about it. I think I'm going to after the competition in July, Revolution.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to do it after that. But for right now, I try and learn every day. So I got that book, the Jiu-Jitsu book.
Yeah, where's that book at? What is that book called?
Jiu-Jitsu University.
Saulo Ribeiro.
Yeah, there you go.
I took a stab at that. If I butchered it, I apologize.
So I try and read that. I get into class pretty early because my daughter does the Minions class. So I get in, and then I have about an hour in between before we start training. So I try and read that. Me and a couple of guys have been doing some drills beforehand just to kind of hit all the white belt stuff again. Because there's all the stuff online about how you should progress as a white belt.
Yeah, kind of like blue belt requirements and whatnot.
Right. So, and I'm just trying to learn the nuances of each move, even if it's the most basic. It's like your head should be here, or your weight should be slightly more back. On knee on belly. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of knew it, but wasn't applying it correctly. So just trying to learn those is what I'm doing.
Yeah, like I feel pretty comfortable when I execute a move, but then when you actually break down to the nuance of the move, that's when it starts getting to, I haven't done this nearly enough to be able to give specific pointers and cues on how to make that move that much better. You know what I mean? So that's what's great about watching videos or reading books. Reading up on things is like, because they give you the little nuances where you're like, man, I didn't even think about that. Kind of like when we were just simply doing the bridge, right? The bridge. Can you turn that fan off? I forgot that fan was on. Oh my God, we just recorded this whole thing with that in the background. Oh, great. But yeah, no. Like when Professor gives those little nuances, like the bridge that we just did, I was like, man, this completely changed my world, dude. I completely forgot. Like,
instead of going over your shoulder, you're
like
going
a typical
to the side.
wrestling bridge. I was like, man, this is a game changer now, because if you take that post away from them, it's or even if they do post, you saw there's no way to stop it if you get it just right. They're going over.
Yeah, I was real sad he showed that to the class. I was like, man, there's the one thing I had dialed in.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah, Professor was talking to me. He's like, so we're going to teach some more triangle stuff and, how to get out of it. I'm like, yay.
Right? No, don't teach that.
I mean, it's good because it's going to improve my game. But, it's just like, all right, that's like the one thing that I got.
Yeah, that's like when we started, because I love the north-south position right now. Like the Kimura from north-south and
that was a good one.
armbar from north-south.
So would you say your favorite position is north-south?
Yeah.
And yours is the triangle?
Yeah, probably.
Playing from back. What, you playing from your back is probably yours?
No, I like them wrist locks.
Yeah, them wrist locks. He got me in one.
I don't use them too much in class, though, because I don't know, how. Can't really use
I tried to get Professor in a wrist lock one time, and he just wiggled out of it. But no, north-south is like my favorite thing, and we've been doing a whole north-south series. And during it, I was like, man, now these guys are going to know my game. like, dang it. We weren't going to go through this stuff.
And then you're like, nope, still works.
Yeah, it still works.
I've thought about keeping a journal, too.
Yeah.
After class, writing it down. I know that my sister used to do that.
Oh, that's a smart idea.
So she'd keep a journal and, just what it meant to her. Not meant, but, how she did it and what cues helped her.
Yeah.
So that later on she can go back. Because right now, we don't have anything that is.
I tried that.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, I tried keeping a journal. Not for me, but it might work for someone.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, because like you said, people learn that. He just taught that move, and you're worried about it, but man, how much can you actually retain without doing it? Because we move on, each week we move on. So when do we hit that move again You know, it might be a year. You know, so unless you're hitting, and I've thought about that too. You know, each week going back a week before class or something.
I wish that was. That's what I was about to say.
That.
I didn't want to cut in on you, but I was like, man, I wish when we do the warm up, they could shave 5 minutes of that and just recap what we just went over the week before.
Well, I'm hoping that we get enough room on the mat here soon, or you know, at some point. I mean, I'll roll on that on the concrete, but
yeah. Well, you know, I used to bring my mat, but I was
know.
like, man, I'm not going to keep bringing this mat in every time.
Yeah, so I mean, I've talked to a couple guys about leaving a mat there, but it'd be nice if we had just a little corner, you know, during the kids' class.
Well,
or something
I think they talked about like they're going to expand the mat space.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That'd be cool. So, and that'd be nice just to get in there and just some very, you know, not rolling, just some very light technique stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cody was saying that the mats were on the way.
Ooh.
That'd be great.
And then I saw, I don't know if I was supposed to see this. Maybe this is just straight coach talk. But I saw a new floor plan for how they were thinking about doing the gym. So instead of splitting them, Cody, I'm so sorry if this happens.
He's not going to listen to this.
But Cody's not going to listen to this. But if you are listening to this, I'm sorry if I ruined any surprise. But it looks like they're going to kind of expand one side and make one side a little smaller. I'm not going to say which one. But that was just like a kind of like a blueprint. Like I just saw it off on the side. And if they did that, I mean, no matter what, it's going to be good. But I wish kind of like I've seen schools where almost the entire floor is a mat, right? And they got mats on the wall and, you know, you can go anywhere in there. Japan was like that, yeah. But that was a little bit different because they had huge wrestling mats on the floor. It was like 4 wrestling rooms in one area.
I wonder how that would work, though, with the building that we're in, though, and the family, like how much family stuff we have, you know.
Yeah. Family definitely is a huge aspect of our community.
You have like 30 people watching, pretty much, or 20, 30 people watching. While
we would definitely have to kind of play it smart, and then you could have like a little area in the back.
I'm sure Cody has. Cody has a plan.
But no, it was pretty cool in Japan having those big huge mats because we could warm up on our own. And then John and I would go over kind of what we're remembering and whatnot.
And the Roy Dean videos.
We'd
watch the Roy Dean and all that. And then we're like, hey, I'll watch this one on Roy Dean. Let's try it out.
Yeah, that's what our Sundays rolls were. We would roll on Sundays, and then we would practice like one position on Sundays for like an hour between the two of us and just kind of work from there and then do, 45 minutes of rolling.
Yeah, together. That's always something, too. I think at the gym they do the yoga on Sundays at 9.
Yep.
Maybe we could.
Do they still do that?
Yeah, maybe we could talk to them one day about letting us use our gym spot on Sundays at 9 and just go over technique without an instructor there. Just whoever wants to show up and go over it.
Yeah, but we're white belts.
I've talked to Cody and he said that we could go in during even when it's open. Just the gym is open in general.
Oh, that's nice.
As long as someone's there.
Yeah. What would you like to see progress in the class? Like what? Because we're kind of on the self-defense side, like kind of more basics and just more self-defense. Don't get me wrong, we love the flashy stuff when it works and whatnot and when we actually understand it, but I feel like there's a lot of us in the class, and this last week we were going over basics when I was sitting on the side because my knee, there's a lot of basic stuff going on, like an elbow escape, and we were just talking about how a lot of people don't know elbow escapes and whatnot. What would you like to see as a white belt, a 4-stripe white belt that you don't
basics.
think you know?
I love basics.
Yeah.
And I think that the reason that we're not so well versed on the basics is you think about a different gym who's been here forever, right?
Exactly.
So, but you have people, like how many new people join? Like how many? So when we first started, we were obviously all just straight up white belts.
Yep.
No stripes, anything like that. Like there's George and
Logan.
No, Logan wasn't even there yet.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Logan was.
George came later, but I mean, so it was just Cody.
Yep.
Yeah,
Cody
so it's just Cody.
Purple.
So who's there to, Cody's the only one to teach the basics. But so I think that other gyms kind of have it to where the brown belts, the purple belts, and all that stuff can help out the new guys and teach them the basics. And it's not, when you have a huge class of 20, 25 people, it's hard to get around to everyone and get the basics and see who's not getting the basics.
Yeah, and who's understanding certain aspects. And we had someone in Japan when he would instruct, kind of like how we did when we coach CrossFit, is you touch every person, right? Like you give every person a cue and watch them and try to help them get that 1% better, right? Yeah. And then we kind of had that in Japan, and John loved it because he'd be like, man, he's telling me stuff that I didn't even think about doing. Like he's watching 2 or 3 attempts of me doing this, and then boom.
And then right after it's over, he's like, you're doing this wrong, and you need to work on this. And I was like, whew, I needed that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's something that I don't think that I'm not gonna say we don't do, because I don't know if anyone else does it, but I do it a lot. I ask people, like, after I'm done rolling, hey, what did you see?
Yeah.
What was open? Were my elbows high up?
Were my elbows not tight?
Did you pass my guard? Like, I can kind of get some of that info on my own, but different perspective. Like if you're a fighter, if you're an MMA fighter, you don't look to yourself to say, oh man, I'm great at striking. You have coaches or other people tell you, like, dude, you get caught with the left all the time.
Right. Yes, there's someone looking from the outside in is a completely different aspect of the situation than what you are, right? Like if someone tells you to move your leg a certain way, it's probably because that way is going to be good for you. You know what I mean? But you don't see that because you're have a hand in your face or your eyes are closed. You know what I mean?
That's like every time I'd use the knee guard, and I put my knee in someone's chest, they would just smash it and then pass my guard for like weeks. And I was like, man, this is not working.
Right.
Finally, I asked, I think George, George, why is this not working? And he goes, oh, you have your knee in the wrong spot. It needs to be over like a foot.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
So you won't know that.
You won't know that
unless you ask, which is why I ask everyone every time. And or if it's someone younger than me that I see stuff with, I'll offer the advice, just because we're trying to grow together. So
absolutely, we're all relatively still new at this. Like the most senior person in the class is right there with us at 1 year.
Yeah,
we've only been in school for 1 year, so to have that experience that an older school, like you mentioned, Derek, has, because they brought, like we said last time, whites to blacks or whites to brown. We don't have that, right? Like just because we're so new, right? So the highest person that's been promoted in our class so far, or in our school so far, is a purple belt, and it was because they were a blue when they first got there. But we've only actually promoted 2 blue belts in the last year since we've been open, which isn't a bad thing. I wouldn't say it's a bad or good thing, right? But it's just, we just don't have that wealth of knowledge in order for us to be able to grow faster than everyone else.
Yeah, and I think that's what I felt when I went to a different gym, and we talked about that. That's why I think it'd be great. Like, you went to a different gym in Texas, didn't you?
I went to a gym in Texas, Amarillo. It was Gathello.
Was that a well-established one?
It was pretty well established.
So
there was browns, there was blacks. They've been competing for a long time.
Yeah.
Like there's only, I want to say only, but like 10 or 15 people on the Saturday roll. But I followed them on Facebook, and man, they got a good following.
Yeah,
that's good.
They get after it, huh?
Yeah, so I've been down to San Diego since, to Odin Gym in Imperial
That's where
Beach.
he's wearing the shirt right now.
I looked that place up because we talk about going down there to work, and I was like, well, if I go back down to San Diego, I need to find a spot, and I looked up that exact place.
Yeah, so it's in Imperial Beach, and it's actually
Imperial Beach.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. So
right off Saturn.
Oh, nice. I lived right next to the boardwalk.
Oh,
yeah.
Nice.
I was in Chula Vista.
Chula Vista.
So, but it's actually owned by EOD Tech.
Nice.
Yeah, so he actually put me through dive school, so I had to check.
Whoa,
so
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah, so he's great dude.
Well, now if we go down there,
just
now we can name drop.
And then also we're getting choked out and tapped left and right. And we walk in the door, we're getting jumped. Like,
Derek right here.
Yeah. Justin Hauk. You guys go down there.
But have you been in any other schools besides the one in Texas and San Diego?
Yeah, so I've been to.
Have you been to any local ones?
Yeah, so it's actually in Chehalis, my hometown. There's one actually at the gym that I used to own. They started up a BJJ there. It's actually an all-round MMA
nice
class. So, but they do a lot of no gi, and I was kind of hesitant.
Really?
I was like, man, I love gi, like gi.
Yeah.
And so my sister dragged me into it, and man, I love no gi,
dude.
I love no gi.
I was
I think my fingers would love no gi.
Yeah, your toe. No, your
the
toes
grip,
have
you go
nothing to do with it.
home and it's like, taking a shower. You're like, should I ice this?
I was watching, or not watching, but I was on Instagram and Chujitsu Chewy. I don't know if you guys know who he is. Look him up on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I love Chewy.
Chewy's-
That's where I went when I felt like I had to tap on claustrophobia when we first started.
Yeah. So Chewy puts out a lot of good information. And one thing that he mentioned is so he was doing like a Q&A on Instagram posts, and someone was like, "Do you prefer gi or no gi?" He's like, "I enjoy gi, like that's my game, but no gi's fun because I don't have lapels to slow me down." Right? Like there's nothing else to grab besides the person, so it's a whole lot easier. Well, I wouldn't say easier. I think it's more like it's more of a chess than gi is to me, because if it in gi, if someone gets a good lapel grip or something like that, you're sitting there for a while.
Everyone's yelling at you, break the grip. It's like, it's
I don't
there.
know. Yeah.
I'm trying to work on the legs right now.
Or I just don't know how to break a lapel grip.
I
Right?
put a good lapel grip in.
Do you?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like a lot of people are going for lapel. Keenan Cornelius has that worm squid guard, lapel guard stuff, and I try watching it, but it's kind of the thing where I have to watch it if I do try to do it and then go do it directly afterwards, because I'm not going to remember the things that he talks about. I tried doing it one time. Like one of the blue belts in our gym does a lot of lapel stuff, and he grabs my lapel, and I'm like, I'm just going to grab his lapel and do exactly what he's doing. I don't know.
Are you talking about
Just
Austin?
mirror him?
Yeah. Austin's got great lapel stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's I did it, and I forget what the name of the gym is called. I wish I knew. I text my sister, she didn't answer. But no, so yeah, she's competing. So
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, so yeah, like you said, man, like there's just nothing to grab, and it's just slick. You know, I can actually focus on the technique.
Yeah.
You know, without worrying about, man, he's got a grip and on my hand, and I can't move my hand. Like,
yeah.
if you're gonna grip my hand, you got to fully grip my hand.
Yeah.
And no-gi, and that's my sister's one claim to fame. She she choked me out that one time. That one time.
Only once?
Yeah, so she's younger, so you know.
Oh no, she choked out Big Brother. Got him.
Got him. So,
yeah, I went to. I was in Portland with my old company before I got hired at where I'm at now. I was in Portland for some inspections, and there was a Henzo Gracie school that was about 15 minutes away, and I'm wearing the shirt right now, actually. But that was interesting because that's where I got introduced to X Guard. We went in there, and it was like a full-on entry into X Guard, submissions and sweeps from X Guard. And at first it was back when we first started, and we started with self-defense, right? So I was like, I don't really give two craps about X Guard, to tell you the truth. And now Now I'm hunting for it, bro. I'm looking for X Guard.
How often do you get guys in X Guard?
In X Guard, I'll get one every couple weeks. I'll be in X. I get more De La Hiva.
Every class for me.
Yeah, De La Hiva
Really?
and Lasso right now. I get a lot of Lasso. People give up Lasso, and the only people that don't do it on are people that are allowed to footlock, because it's easy to get into a footlock from Lasso. But my favorite sweep is from Lasso, the Samurai sweep. So if you have your Lasso, you put the shin across the hips and then bring them onto the shin and punch. Dude, that is like 98% success rate sweep right there.
Yeah, I need to get back into. Well, not back into. I need to get into footlocks, because
I've been getting killed on them.
Yeah. Well, man, George, when we first started, and I mean he's let up, but I need him to get back on it.
Well, I thought I got him in a great sweep on Thursday.
George is our coach, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I got this. And who was it? Phil was on the sideline, and he's like, ooh, good sweep. No, he baited that all the way.
He's like, got him.
He let me sweep him just so he could grab the ankle and lock it as soon as he hit the ground.
Yeah, it's allowed in the tournament, so I need
A straight foot lock.
Yeah, straight foot lock.
Yeah, I got a private pretty much in Japan of like a straight foot lock from our instructor out there, and at first I was like, I kind of want to learn how to heel hook, and he's like, you're a white belt, so you should probably learn how to straight foot lock, because that's going to be more beneficial for you right now. And so he was teaching me straight foot locks, and I was like, man, if you look for these, they are everywhere, right? But the only problem is I can't get a good entry into a foot lock. I don't know the entries to get into a foot lock, right? Like a lot of people go inverted, or they have a certain sweep that boom goes right into it, or they just go straight into like sit up guard or quarter guard, and then they try to get the foot lock from there or the sweep from there to go into the foot lock. But I just don't know. Once again, you don't know what you don't know. I don't know if it's right there because I haven't done it.
Well, and for me, what's the etiquette? Like, when can you try this and on who? Is it just blue belts and above? I'm not really sure.
White belts.
The dilemma of white belts, bro. Like, when can I do something?
I've heard
on
before that
someone?
you can't.
Yeah.
It needs to be at least a 4-stripe.
Well, it's in tournaments, so
Yeah.
it's allowed.
Well, I think it's honestly outside of our gym. I would say it's up to the professor. It's up to the teacher if they allow, because you went to hybrid, all white belts were doing footlocks, right?
Yeah.
But you won't catch that in our gym. And I think once again, it's because they've been around for longer. They have more experience in the upper belts to show and then kind of facilitate being able for them to do that, right? As to where for us, we don't have a lot of upper belts to help out with a footlock, because I tell you the truth, I go back and forth about being able to do footlocks.
Me too. That's what I'm saying. And I feel the same on the wrist locks. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I want to learn them. I want to get good at them. But I feel like we need more experience around us to prevent people from cranking, from people from heel hooking on accident or something like that, because it only takes a split second for your knee to be gone or your ankle to be gone.
And that's why we don't do it.
And that's exactly why we don't do it.
So, like, you can do it against George or the higher belts, but because they know how to react.
Well, in Japan, we'd ask.
Yeah.
Like, whoever I rolled with, I'd ask. I was like, hey, is it okay if I try out my wrist locks?
Yeah.
And they would either tell me yes or no.
They're
Well,
like,
imagine you did it against a guy, say it was taught to like a 2-striver, right? And,
right.
And they did it to someone who was brand new to the gym, and it's like they roll. New white belts are crazy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. They're going to go 100%. And then
I never really understood that until recently. But
yeah.
Not really even at our gym. Like, I never realized how hard we went when we were brand new.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I didn't realize that until later.
Oh, I've seen it. I've been to the gyms that I've been to. There's been a few new white belts, and I smile because I like new white belts.
Yeah,
it takes you back. It takes you back, and then it's like, all right, this is and we talk about survival, right? So it's like, this is no kidding a survival. This guy doesn't want to lose,
right?
Like
you're getting mauled by a bear.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, can I keep this? Is my training actually going to do what it's supposed to do? Kick in, and in split-second decisions, am I going to make the right?
Is my instinct going to work?
Whatever. I'm sneaking looks at the clock. Whew, 1 more minute.
That's that old age talking right there.
30 more seconds. Can I just survive?
Oh my God, just keep him in half guard. I don't want him to move. Yeah, no, we discussed that, John and I, about you honestly need those brand new white belts, former wrestlers, don't know how to do jiu-jitsu rolls, because those guys are trying to take your head off because that's all they know, right? So being able to smartly defend yourself against someone that is going 100% and will be gassed 100% by the end of the roll because they're going so hard, and then afterwards you're like, hey, you should probably calm down a little bit, and then walk away like, and they're like, oh my God, But you need those to make sure that your training is in stone, that you can 100% know. Well, I mean, not 100% because you don't know who you're going to run into on the streets, right? But you have an idea that, okay, it is working. I can smartly defend myself. So,
yeah. No, I 100% agree. And, you got to show the guys who are coming in too, the white, the brand new guys, like, if you get that arm bar, and that's
I do it all the time. Part of me.
I do that all the time. So, like, I'll miss an arm bar probably 90%. Man, I'll even go 99% of the time.
Yeah.
Because I will not crank back on it. When I get Kimuras, Americanas, anything like that, you will not see me finish that in 2 seconds.
I'm with you.
You'll see me finish it in about 20 seconds.
And I'll thank you for it.
Yeah. It's going up an inch at a time until you're like, I'll see your face grimace, and it's like, you gonna tap yet? All right, just a little bit more.
I'll even stop. Are you good?
Yeah. I'm the same way. I mean, some people say I kind of put them on quick, but the problem for me isn't putting them on quick. Is I'm still figuring out my strength. Like, I still don't know how strong I am and how hard I could put something on someone.
You're not very strong. Don't worry about it.
Oh my gosh,
You're
whatever.
weak.
But yeah, but you know, and I feel bad because sometimes people will be like, "Man, you kind of went a little hard on that." And I'm like, "Dude, thank you for telling me because I don't know because this is just
Some
how
people
I
are
react."
scared to do that though.
Yeah.
Some people are scared to give the advice like, "Hey man, like that was a crank.
Yeah.
Like man, you cranked the crap out of my neck,
Yeah.
and now
I'm
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
walk around like this."
I'm not gonna lie to you, Derek. When you first started, you cranked the shit out of everything.
I probably yeah.
Well, you know what, Derek?
We
That's
all-
a good point. Your buddy that was there Thursday, I went and talked to him after class and asked about that Ezekiel
Levi,
put
yeah.
on him, and I was like, "Hey, man, was that okay? Did I have
Yeah.
that on the right spot on your mouth, or was I on your teeth?"
Yeah,
And he was
I
like,
do that
"No."
all the time.
He
now,
was
man.
like, "No, you had it in the right spot. It was
Yeah.
fine." But I was
Yeah.
kind of worried, so I wanted to go
Yeah.
check with him.
"No, of course."
I
yeah.
accidentally hyperextended someone's arm slightly in class when we were doing positional drilling. I went for we started off in the back, and then it was submit or sweep from or not sweep but reverse from the back, and I was like, all right, well I'm gonna try to do an arm bar from the back. Got them in the position, and I started like pulling on the arm. Did Blaze fart?
Blaze is a Doberman.
Oh my god. Dude, that is horrendous. Holy crap, bro. And then he puts his tail back down. What a dick. I'm going to bleep that out. No, but so I started like cranking on the not cranking, but going for the arm bar trying to break his grip cuz he had a good grip, and he just let it go on me. I said they were gonna hold on a second. We'll just edit this out. God dang. Holy crap, man.
Dog's not allowed there anymore.
Dude, his tail was up for a while on that, man.
No, you got to leave that in there. That was all real. That's his Doberman puppy that just literally gassed us out of this room.
Dude, I look over and his tail's wide up, just like
You guys are looking at me like, "What's wrong?" It's
Yeah,
like, dude,
no,
just
that
give it a
was-
second.
That was horrible.
that was so bad.
It's still bad.
yeah,
actually.
it's still in my mouth.
But so it's still in my mouth. That's disgusting. But so I started like pulling on the arm bar, trying to break his grip, and I don't know if he let his grip go or if it broke free, but I accidentally fell back and put it on quick before I could ease into it. You know, it just
Yeah.
happens sometimes.
Oh
And
yeah.
I was like, I
if
felt
that-
so bad afterwards, man. I'm like, I do not want to be the guy that's in there hurting people
No,
in the
of course not,
slightest. You
but
know,
yeah, like you said, it happens. As long as you can tell people who do it
yeah,
and like don't care. Like,
Yeah.
they're like, yeah, man, it's name of the game. It's like,
yep. We had
no,
we
bro.
had a 3-stripe that in Japan who was a bigger guy, 3-stripe white belt, and people didn't like rolling with him because they're like, dude, this guy every time he
that
gets
was the one we avoided.
Yeah, I avoided like the plague because
Yeah.
all the people that rolled with this dude were like, that guy, he'll like smash your jaw, he'll like he'll put pressure on your jaw or crank your neck or something like that, and you're like, come on, man. So I would get off. Yeah, I would just be like, you know what? It was kind of like how John, when there's only one person left and you don't really make eye contact with them because you know you don't want to roll with them. That's what I was
So
doing.
I got to go home early tonight. I'll see you later.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like it's the end of sparring. Got a good roll in. It's like we just started. Like, oh yeah, definitely not gonna do that. So
You did that to me the other day.
Did- no,
I'm like, I might have.
yeah, like, no, Derek, I would never do that to you. No. If so, we were thinking about starting a new segment of the podcast called White Belt Tip of the Day, right? So it could be a white belt giving a tip to a fellow white belt or a higher belt giving a tip for a white belt because we're both white
Yeah.
belts. So if you could give one tip to a brand new white belt, what would it be?
Like if you're Googling white belt help because you're brand new to
5
jiu-jitsu.
tips for brand new white
Yeah,
belts.
what
would
would-
number one
I
be?
did this. I did this.
I did-
I am that white belt. who-
I did as well.
Yeah, I
so,
did too.
yeah,
Obviously,
absolutely.
we
I
had a
was the
conversation
clickbait.
about this. We
Did
had a
you?
conversation.
What
all
would
of
your
us
one
did.
tip be?
Man, it's ask, take videos and ask what what your weaknesses are. You're not going to know until you know.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
already talked about
So
it.
ask for more advice.
Ask for more advice. You
Yeah.
know, like, man, I got so much advice when I started doing this, which was probably about 4 months ago.
Started doing what?
Started asking advice.
Oh,
like,
okay.
started asking, hey, what'd you see during that roll? And it takes a few few seconds, few minutes after the roll. But man, it got like, hey, your pressure wasn't good there. Man, when you push away, you leave yourself open for arm bars.
Yeah.
It's like, keep your elbows tight.
Third time.
I can't help it, it's like, I can't help the reference. So yeah, I mean, I think my game has come a long way, since I started asking advice. And I don't know if it's common practice at other places to do it, but, I love getting advice. I love knowing what I'm doing wrong. I'm not too scared. I'm not too scared to admit when
not too
I don't
scared to say no. Isn't that a song, right?
I'm too young.
Oh my God. I'm too old. Oh my God. Anyways.
So I'm not worried about looking like an idiot. You know, like if I don't know something, I'll ask you, even if I should know it. It doesn't matter to me. I'll ask and I'll figure out what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest advice. And new white belt, slow down.
Slow down. Yeah. Right. So you mentioned earlier that you are a father of two with a wife and everything like that. How does Jenny, right?
Yep.
How does
Jenny.
Jenny, how does she feel about you doing jiu-jitsu? Do you ever come home and you're just like, oh my God, I got absolutely destroyed tonight and hurting or anything?
Who
like
doesn't?
That? Yeah, I know I do.
No, I do.
How does she feel about it? And like,
she doesn't care. She doesn't care if I come home. Oh, I'm so hurt. Yeah, the kids need to get you put to bed.
Yeah,
right. you still got chores.
Your fun time was over.
Your fun time was over.
Daddy time's over. Now it's time to be the real daddy.
Yeah, no, we got a good thing. I think we have a good routine going. I pick them up from daycare, bring both of them to the gym. Man, I just want to spend time with them, and that's why I'm getting out of the military. Right, so it's like, what can I do to further that to make that relationship stronger? And so I had Khalees join. I think she's still the youngest one in that class.
Yeah.
And she's progressing.
Cracks me up.
Man, she's fun. Yeah.
But she's progressing.
Yeah, she progressed, and I didn't think she wanted to do the tournament.
How old is she?
4.
4.
She turned 4 in March.
That's
Oh,
so
that's cool.
crazy.
Yeah, so it's getting more.
Excited?
It's getting more. So like, I mean, John, Travis, you've seen it, but the kids, like, they go through stages where they like.
Charles got out of it.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying
to
get him back into it.
Yeah, they're on hyperdrive, like learning wise type thing. Like, what is it, like 1 year old? They're like, yeah, cool, we're crawling, but they're still learning stuff. But man, from one.
And you have girls.
Yeah.
And you have girls, and girls mature faster. They're like having a 10-year-old boy and then looking at how a 10-year-old girl acts. I'm like, man.
Or a 13-year-old
Riley.
I
just left Port Orchard City. Drew's 7 years old, and she's holding full-on conversations.
Yeah.
Bringing out her wallet and paying for everything she's buying.
Yeah.
While we're in the antique store. I'm like, boys aren't doing this.
No, absolutely not. Charles at 7 was like screaming and yelling and running around acting a dang
That's
fool.
boys though, man.
Yeah,
like,
I love it.
They're like, we love her. Bring her back.
There's two different things though, because girls will, I mean, at least mine. I don't know if I'm raising, but they'll cry, if they get hurt. But boys, man, I watched some of the boys before the Minions class, and dude, they are tackling each other. They are just like, man, they're just
one guy's
just
there with
short.
A broken cast.
Yeah, they're just short of punching each other. Yeah. You're like, if my daughter,
like, this is what we could do legally right now.
Yeah, if my daughter got punched, man, she would not like it.
Right.
So girls learn quicker, but
has Jenny ever thought about doing jiu-jitsu?
Oh heck no.
Your wife?
No. She likes her own space.
She likes her own space.
Yeah, maybe once the whole family gets involved, maybe she might get into it.
Yeah.
But
I'm trying to convince Lordell to go to the women's self-defense class.
So hard.
Because I'm like, baby, I won't always be there, right? And that's why you should learn how to protect yourself, right? Because sometimes there won't be a situation where you can let's say lethal force, right? Sometimes there's going to be someone coming up behind you or something like that. Like, you got to be able to defend yourself smartly. And the women's self-defense class looks awesome. I think it
looked awesome. I don't think they're doing it anymore. Right?
No,
they have women's jiu-jitsu class, but that self-defense class they did, that's over. Now it's just women's jiu-jitsu.
Is that what the Saturday class is?
Yeah, 9.
So
pretty sure.
I think it started as self-defense.
Self-defense,
yeah. So I think if there's any women out there listening, the biggest thing you can do for yourself as a woman is learn how to get away from someone, right? Whether it's kicking them in the groin, or actually being able to defend yourself from a predator or attacker or something like that.
And jiu-jitsu will help them with, honestly, a man that might be attacking
absolutely
them. That's bigger and
that's
stronger.
what I'm saying, right? So what I was leading to was getting into a woman's self-defense class, whether it's jiu-jitsu based or something, because it's only going to benefit you. And I try to tell Lauderdale that, because at the end of the day, if you are by yourself walking through a parking lot and there's no one else around, there's no one else around, right? It's you, and God forbid this ever happens, right? But I would feel way more comfortable knowing that my wife knows how to defend herself, and just in day-to-day things, right? It's like in Bellevue, the woman that unfortunately had something happen to her.
You're talking about the one that brought her car to the car dealership and got raped in the bathroom?
Exactly, right? Like, if she only knew what, like, we can only speculate, but like, if she knew just a little bit of self-defense, right? And unfortunately, we live in society where you have to think like that, right? Like, you just got to think, like, am I going to be able to smartly defend myself? That's why we do it. That's why everyone should do it. Can you smartly defend yourself and get away from someone that is trying to do harm to you? You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. No, I think that's why I got the girls, my girls involved.
So
Me
smart.
too.
So smart.
Yeah, so, I mean, like we said, like I was talking about, the kids just pick up on stuff so much quicker, like.
And starting them young. Imagine when they get to our age.
I'm so jealous. They're all flexible out there rolling around. I'm like, oh, are you kidding me?
That's kids in general. But
they have great squats.
You hear about people talking about, like, the MMA and where that's going to be at in, like, a couple generations. With all these guys, kids, these world champs, kids coming up as surrounded by that. And, it's like, oh, I got the best my dad had the best boxing coach. Hey, bud. And so they get in on it also, and then you get really good at all around or something, So I think that, MMA and all that stuff, and jiu-jitsu, obviously, you see it in the Gracies, but I think all of the sports, MMA, all the martial arts sports are going to come up pretty quick here with the internet. And man, the internet has changed so much.
It's changed everything,
yeah.
Right? Speaking of the internet, last question before we sign off for the day. If you could bring anyone back, I love this question because it really tells a lot about a person, right? If you could bring anyone back and have a conversation with them, who would it be? Speaking of the internet, because you could Google this person and see who they are if you don't know who it is.
Teddy Roosevelt, man.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah.
Why Teddy Roosevelt?
Man, that day was awesome. Rough Riders. I'm getting that one right? Like, I'm not messing up my Roosevelts. No, yeah, man. The Rough Riders, man. I've read those books, and man, that dude was great hunter.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
So it would just be, and I mean, I've seen Night at the Museum, so like, I kind of see what he would be like.
It's 100% factual.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Teddy Roosevelt. That's a good one. I like that one. My dad gets told all the time he looks like Teddy Roosevelt.
Really?
My dad looks exactly like Teddy Roosevelt. I'm not even joking.
Do you look like your dad did when he was your age right now?
That's a good question. I look very similar to my dad. I would say you could tell us apart easily, except for in his boot camp photo. His boot camp photo looks we look pretty dang close, man.
Yeah.
But what about you? Do you look a lot like your dad?
So
spitting
image. The first time I saw this, I think I was like 12 or 16. I was at my grandparents' house, and my dad has a wrestling photo up. Man, he has the exact same hair, the exact same build. And I'm like, when was that taken? And they're like, "It's your dad." I'm like, "Oh."
That's so funny.
But now he has like black hair, and I'm like, "Where did that come? Like, do you dye your hair without me knowing?"
That's so funny. All right, guys. Hey, well, it's been a fun conversation, Derek. Thank you so much for coming through, man. I greatly appreciate it. John, thank you once again. This is a great beer. We've had 2 each, so I'm pretty much drunk by now.
Yeah, you're a lightweight for sure.
I'm a lightweight. So I just want to say thank you to Derek for joining us today. Thank you so much for coming in and having a conversation with us, telling us about yourself and everything that happened today. John, once again, thank you. So if you guys haven't already, now that we're actually on Spotify and hopefully iTunes and everything like that when I say this, if you haven't already, please subscribe, leave a comment on the podcast so we can start getting recognized out there. So it's been a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, guys. Remember, keep those elbow tights. No oil checks here.